Warning. The 4x4 Canada podcast contains discussion about exploring mountains, camping beside lakes, and enjoying the outdoors. Guests also talk about jumping race trucks side by side, racing 1,000 horsepower rigs across mud pits, and jumping monster trucks over stacks of buses. None of this is for the faint of heart. The 4x4 Canada podcast is not responsible for bringing out your inner adrenaline junkie or making you want to get out there and explore the back roads from coast to coast. The 4x4 Canada podcast is not responsible for broken parts due to jumping your vehicle, hitting mud poles too hard, crossing deep streams, and doing other dumb shit. However, we will take credit for inspiring you to explore mountaintops, spend quality time outdoors with your friends, or meeting new like-minded people, and most importantly of all, following your dreams. Welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast. I'm your host, Wes.
And I'm your host, Trisha.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brent. This is Kesteal.
Hi there.
And we're from Adventures Unexpected.
Looking forward to talking to you guys. We've been going back and forth for a bit, and you guys have a ton of things going on between your trips down south, trips up north, and your events that you guys host in Ontario, your Overland event. So can't wait to get into all of that. Before we do, I do want to remind our listeners, if you have not checked out the episode last week with GoSo Cookware, we had Brent on board, and it was a really great interview about his new cookware. Good talk about sitting around the fire and camp cooking. And we got some ideas on what to do for camp cooking. I know there's a couple of new things I'm going to try in January that we talked about. And I got some really good ideas from him. But it was just a nice conversation. Sit back and just talk about cooking because, you know, the Overland crowd, we're all about cooking, right? If you haven't listened to it, go back last week and check it out with GoSo Cookware. And next week, Trisha is going to kill you. The O'Brien family, they are out of Atlin, BC. We're going to talk a lot about a snowmobile venture they did last March, 1,650 kilometers in the Arctic on snowmobiles.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Really looking forward to that. Unfortunately, Trisha, I know you're not going to be able to make it. That's going to be next week's interview. We got some stats from this year. You already see these on social media over the last week or so, but our top 5 cities for downloads was Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, Surrey, BC, and Kamloops, BC, which is my hometown. So I'm sure that's a lot of my friends listening. So thank you to all our listeners all across Canada and all across the world. Canada was our most popular country in regards to the downloads, but the United States was second, which we kind of figured. But then it was Germany, Australia, and the UK. So huge thank you to all our listeners all around the world. I know we've got a lot of other countries that are not listed in there, the Philippines, Dubai, Italy. There's a couple of South American countries in that we have a steady listenership down there as well, too. So we appreciate all our listeners. We love your guys' support and hearing from you as well. So let's get away from the stats and let's get into the real stuff. Brent and Kesteal, welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for having us.
So I'm going to get it out of the way real quick. It'll be in the show notes as well. Our listeners can reach you as Adventures_Unexpected on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so you guys got so much going on. I don't know exactly where to start. So we might as well, let's just roll it back a bit. Did you guys go up camping and exploring?
I didn't. No, I was born and raised in Toronto. So there wasn't a lot of trips. The other side of my family is New Brunswick. So I would go out there every summer and visit out in New Brunswick. It's more of a camping feel. That's what it felt like. We were out in the country out there, and we had our little fires and things like that, but not like what we're doing now. What we're doing now is like next level. So I wouldn't say I was raised that way, but I think you were, right?
Country boy, raised in the country. And my brother and I would camp out in the field behind the house. We had the big book of camping. Do you remember that book when you were a kid? Had the colored pictures in it where it showed you how to tie knots and make fires and all that. We're like, let's do number 7 today. And we go out and dig a pit.
Bushcraft?
The original, the original bush. That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That was a great book. I can't find it. I have the kids version, but not the adult version. anybody's got that, let me know.
Well, we'll keep an eye on eBay for you.
It's probably $300 or something like that by now.
Yeah.
It's popular.
Yeah, it's a rare one now, right? So
Yeah.
all the other ones got either burned or they got just so mangled by,
Yeah, it's right.
How did you guys meet?
Oh, like everybody else online, right? Great. So we both have our past lives of being
Yep.
married and having kids. So now we have together from past marriages, 6 kids, three, right?
Yep.
And they're all grown. But yeah, we met online like everyone else. And I met him because his whole profile was camping, right? So it's in keeping with who he is and who we are now. And I saw the outdoor camping and the cold camping. And I was like, wow, I'm adventurous. I do some crazy shit, but I haven't done that, right? So, and he's part of the Jeep community at that time. When I met him, I had a Camaro and a Harley. I didn't have a Jeep or anything like that. Really cult. Because when you go to these things, these Jeep things, it's cultish.
Oh, yeah.
It totally is.
So it's cool, but it's cultish. So I was like, what is this? So that's what drew me to it.
You're just like, oh man, I can relate to that.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a Jeep. Right? So, so yeah, I was converted.
It's actually different than going from a Camaro to a Jeep.
I was like a speed demon. I would race to his place and get there, and then all the guys would be working on Jeeps, and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Now you're slow as a snail.
Here I am now.
No. Yes,
So
we
that's
got
what I got to
into
put
it.
in my profile then is
Yeah, camping.
outdoors and
First,
pictures of my Tacoma with my rooftop tent, and I'm all set.
Big thing now, right now.
So when I first became aware of you guys, this is going back, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, something like that. And you're running a gladiator and you just come down from these southern states.
Okay.
So that was, I guess, 2-3 years ago now, eh?
Yeah,
Well-
that was 3 years ago. Our first big trip was out west and then out east. That was kind of the COVID time, right? And then I think you found us when I got the Gladiator and we did the Georgia Traverse.
Exactly that. We so the southern states.
I can't remember exactly. Somewhere down south, like Georgia. So
That
yeah.
was the Dirty Tooth Tour.
you mentioned you've been out west, east, down south, and we know you've been
Yeah.
up north, and we'll get into that in
Yeah.
a bit. What's your favorite area?
I'm all about heat, so I love it. Louisiana, Texas, Colorado was okay too with the heat, but
New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah. So I'm anywhere there's heat. If I'm not in North America, then I'd be over in Bali or the hot space.
Thailand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wherever.
Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
right.
said we were going to do Canada first. We said we were going to overland all of Canada. And
Yep.
I think we've done that now. Alaska and Yukon, Northwest Territories. I think the only place we haven't done is Newfoundland, right? But we're planning that trip. And then the south. So, yeah, south we're planning.
See, I'm a teacher, so I only get July and August off. So I put in my marks Friday when I'm done class, and we don't come back until Labor Day. So that's kind of the last few trips that we've done. So a full 10 weeks, take off, live free, off grid, nobody around, as little people interaction as we can. We like people, but it's nice to be just kind of out exploring by yourself. Right. So, you can get lost out west, you can get lost out east. We definitely did see people for a few days when we were up in Alaska and the Yukon and Northwest Territories. And down south is just so beautiful. There's just so many places where you can get lost in the mountains and camp out, not see anybody, just enjoy yourself. Those are the things we like to do. But that Dirty South tour was a fun tour. That was a real fun tour.
What states do you hit on that one?
We took the trail called the Trans-America Trail.
Yeah.
So that was the original wagon route from New England to California. And we
Okay.
hooked up with the fellow that had, Sam is his name, and he had the GPX tracks for it. He rode it on his adventure bike. And so we were like, we might be able to drive that in the Gladiator. So that's what we did. We got on in Pennsylvania, and we did Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina,
Yeah.
Georgia, Alabama.
Savannah.
Then we were like, hey, it's going to be 4th of July. Let's go to Rutherford Beach and camp on the beach in Louisiana.
And how was that?
Hot.
It was-
Oh my goodness.
Even the water was hot. The Gulf was hot. It was a hot bath. It was crazy. I'm okay with that. But he was like,
I was dying.
Yeah, I bet. Me too.
It was 102 plus 100% humidity. Louisiana is hot, man. Like
Yeah.
crazy hot. So we're like, let's go to the beach. So we go to the beach and we're like, well, let's get in the water because it's going to be cool. and the Gulf was 98 degrees. It was insane. It was insane. Hotter than bathwater. And you think, well, let's get out of the water and the breeze will blow on you. It's like opening the oven door. You know, not out. Like it was just so hot. And that's when all there was huge heat waves. There's big heat warnings, stay inside, stay cool. There was people dying in Texas. Like it was bad. And that's where we were. So
Great time to go.
yeah. Great time.
We go where we go, right? I mean, like we're in the middle of nowhere. It was awesome. We met like a ton of awesome Americans.
Oh, crawfishers.
Yeah,
and
they came and brought us food, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was a good time.
The Overland community is amazing. They want to talk to you. They come right up to you. They're like, can we come and talk to you? And we're always friendly to meet new people and chat it up and tell stories. That tour was amazing. After that, we went up through Texas into Oklahoma and up to New Mexico and did the Bermuda Triangle in Colorado. We did Telluride and Ouray and Lake City. And it was amazing there, seeing everything. There's still 12 feet of snow. We didn't get to do Black Bear, but we did Engineer, Imogen, all the major Jeep trails that you need to do in Colorado. Then we came back through South Dakota, went to the Monument, and then all down through Missouri and back into Kentucky. Then stopped off and saw our moonshiner friends in Tennessee and then came home.
That is one heck of a trip. And you guys saw a little bit of everything. I mean, you're talking the forests of the East Coast to the deserts of, and then the mountains in Colorado. Colorado's on my hit list. I'm here in BC. I've got mountains, but not like they do in Colorado. It's been on my hit list since I was a 5-year-old kid looking at Off-Road magazine, right? Like I've been down, I spent a lot of time down in Nevada and Northern California and Washington, Oregon, and stuff like that. But I haven't made it to Colorado yet.
It's only that much further on the map.
Exactly. Yeah, usually going down for other reasons, unfortunately. The one thing you mentioned was the Overland community. And I think that's something we need to talk about. We don't need to talk about because everybody knows how awesome the Overland community is. Right. And whether, it's what you guys are doing in Ontario, which we'll get into, but also everywhere that I've been in regards to Overland stuff.
Yeah, we're part of DRC, which is the Dirt Road Coalition, right? So that's big in the States. And they invited us to be a part of that in Canada. It was an honor because we always thought we would want to branch out into, all of North America and further. Australia is obviously on our hit list too. Mm-hmm. But everyone's coming together to live this community. The community is not just about, taking your gear and traveling in off roads or, living off grid or anything like that. It's about like making sure everybody is self-sufficient because that's what it's about. You're vehicle dependent.
Dependent, yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you drive. We've seen cars that people are car camping or they have rooftop tents on their cars. And it's just a matter of everyone coming together and saying we can all go out there and see nature, right? Like take it back to the old days where we're just not so consumed, right? So with the city life and what we're doing to our planet when we live in those conditions. I'm happy to be part of a big community that is all thinking the same way.
Yeah.
And I think when we started, I was pretty serious into the Jeep thing. And before that, I was into four-wheeling. I had a pickup truck and, we'd go four-wheeling, but really consumed in the Jeep. I had a 2012 JK that was all tricked out. When I got the Gladiator, everyone was like, oh, you can't drive that Gladiator there. Right. And we were all like, well, this isn't our first Jeep. We've had Jeeps before. So we're capable. Like we know. Right. But I think the big thing that Kesteal and I noticed was that you don't need 37-inch tires. You don't need a 5-inch lift. You don't need a $4,000 roof nest tent. Like you don't need all that stuff. Yeah. You can throw your sleeping bags in the back of the Jeep, blow up a mattress, have a campfire on Crown Land and still have that experience of being out in nature and enjoying yourself. We tend to overpack. We have a lot of stuff that we take. But when we go away for the weekend, because we'll go away and we'll just drive the fire roads and find some stuff, we go a fair bit. We don't usually video that because that's our time together. We've camped in the back of my Cherokee. We've camped in the back of Kesteal's Jeep. Like we just go and enjoy.
Downtime.
I think a lot of our listeners are probably sick of us saying it, but Trisha and I say all the time that the best vehicle is the one in your driveway. Doesn't matter if it's a stock JKU or a 1981 Toyota or a minivan. Just use that vehicle to get where you can and explore nature.
I think that's the premise behind where we started this is so that everyone can come out.
Yeah.
Even if you can't see the night, maybe you don't got a, proper tent, maybe you don't have the gear, maybe you don't have that stuff, but that's fine. It's like the old days bush parties. You drive out with a big fire and you had some drinks and you had your stories, you had a good time, and then you went home, right? Or you stayed on the land or whatever, right? So that's what we're doing. We're just grown-ups doing kid stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Doing bush parties.
Yeah.
You guys host a number of events throughout the year in Ontario. Maybe you can just get a bit of a rundown on those events. And I know you guys have one coming up at the end of January as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Yeah, we started by because we're camping all the time. It's what we do. With our kids being grown, we just go out every other weekend. We thought, well, we're on Crown Land. We do a lot of scouting. We have the Cherokee to scout, right? So the different vehicles we have to go out there and find places, because that's the hardest part, right? And the thing is that Crown Land, people don't share their spots. And I get why. A lot of people leave a trace. And that's a problem, right? So we would scout out and then we'd say to, our closer friends before we put the group together, do you guys want to come out and hang out with us, right? We thought, let's put it out there now that we created a group. But the locations are only for the people that are coming out. We don't disclose it on our group page or Instagram or YouTube or anything like that. But to the people that are going, we'll give coordinates. And that's where that started. People are receptive to this, right?
Yeah.
And then we thought, let's do it seasonally. We're not home in the summertime because we're doing our own thing, right? But we found people were saying, when are you going to do your next one? And we're like,
we had such a good time.
We weren't really thinking of that. But then we're like, do we want to do this? And there's a lot of prep. See, and you only know unless you're part of it, kind of a thing, right? We haven't had flag. I've seen some other groups that are like, oh, you just give it to like whatever, right? But I'm like, well, no, it's a community that you have to keep it nature, right? You can't go out there and mess it up for anyone else, which does happen. We've decided we'll do it in autumn for sure when we come back, because everyone wants to know what happened during our trips. Winter is a hard one. Winter is dicey. If you're coming out for winter camping, you got to have a diesel meter. You have to have the gear. And that's really the one that everyone's like, oh, I won't make it for this one, but I'll make it in spring, which is fine because you'll learn when you're around people that will teach you.
It's always free.
Oh, yeah.
So we get together and do a potluck. The potluck seems to be a great thing. Everybody cooks for like 6 or 8 people, and there's always plenty of food. I'm sure you've seen some of the pictures of the spreads of food that we have.
Yeah,
it's a good place for new people if you want to try it. Very inclusive. We've had people come in their RAV4, and we've had people come in their big monster Dodge pickup trucks and everything in between, motorhomes and car camping and everything. So and it's always free. It's super fun. Yeah, super fun.
Do you have a secret handshake or something?
When we talk about, we don't give out spots. Yeah. So if you want to be part of our group, then cool. You join up, participate in the chat. And if you want to come out, then we share the coordinates, because then you're our friends. If I show up to my secret spot and it's a stranger, we may make friends, but it would be better if it was somebody that we knew that was there and would be like, hey, what's going on? And we could camp out. And then it's friends camping with friends, rather than, oh, well, this is my spot now. I'm here. You got to go find another place. So we try to keep it within the community, and we don't, spread it all over, because it's getting serious now. The places are getting shut down in Ontario. People don't look after things. Can't cut down live trees. Like, it's bad.
We see that all across, Canada and North America. I've got a number of spots that I don't tell unless they're close friends. Some people figure that you should share everywhere. And I've seen what happens, unfortunately, when it does get shared everywhere. So we've all got our own little secret spots we share with our close friends that we trust. We'll, keep it the way that should be kept, right? So I totally get that.
Well, you guys been like Russ said, like all over Canada, all over the States, but is there a place where it's been the most memorable for you guys? As in, it could be like you guys had the best wheeling or best adventure or just like the best scenery. Is there somewhere between Canada and the States that's most memorable?
You go first. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean,
I have a big
list. You?
Yeah.
Big list.
I think Alaska was a big deal for me. I mean, it's fresh in my memory, so maybe that, but I think it's just because it's totally different than any other place we've been to, right? For now, anyways, and we got engaged there.
Yeah, I saw that in the summer.
So that's,
I like that.
We were like way out. We were in Denali. Then we just were able to camp out there. That's one good thing about it. That's a national forest. It's a back road.
The Denali Highway.
you can drive off for a long way to get to places that other people have been to. Like there's fire pits, right? So it's there, but it's not known. And we went to a place that was awesome. The mountains were in front of us. It was beautiful weather, and it was out in the open, and the dogs were able to run, and it was just beautiful, right? So that's what we're looking for. Those are the places that you look for when you're actually out there. We don't want to be around people. We could still see people because it was so vast. You could see people right over there on the ridge, but we were there on the ridge, right? So
way far away.
yeah, it was nice. So I think that's my area.
The place, I guess,
me,
is kind of like untouched. You like the untouched kind of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I want to drive down a road where there's no telephone poles. And I want to be able to turn down the road where there's grass growing in between the wheel ruts. That's my kind of road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's Marshall Pass in Colorado. There was a beautiful spot where we stayed in this little gulch. We were able to look down over the valley. We saw 2 guys riding motorcycles in 3 days. There's lots of beetle kill in Colorado, so there's lots of firewood. Just beautiful, cool weather, just perfect for me. Probably a little cool for Kesteal, but amazing for me. I loved it. I'd go back to Colorado, and then I would say this year on the Lolo Motor Parkway in Oregon. I wanted to do the Lolo for a while. We watch Wes quite a bit. All of his videos, we watch a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
And we reached out to Wes, but he was too busy. He had already had stuff booked. But we definitely go back to Oregon and Washington. And for sure. Yeah. Beautiful.
It's really, we're so lucky in North America. You know, I say this all the time, but especially about Canada, but, you know, even North America wise, where we've got deserts, grasslands, mountains, oceans, swamps, everything, right? It just blows me away.
We stayed at the sand dune when we were in Colorado at the national park, the largest inland sand dune in North America.
Crazy.
In Colorado.
It's this massive dry lake that the wind blows right up against the mountain, and there's this huge, massive sand dune there. It was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's quite a large sand dune in northern Alberta. Athabasca, I believe.
We saw that actually this year when we were going through. We're like, oh man, I wish I had 3 more extra days. We could have gone. 10 weeks wasn't enough, right? There's always more things to do. Even when we're out, we're scouting for spots where we're like, well, that'd be a good spot to go. Or, you know, oh, that'd be nice to have a group of 5 or 6 rigs go and do stuff like that. We're always thinking about that stuff. We would probably like to do more YouTube than we do, but you get caught up in the moment, driving and enjoying it. It's not hard for us to lose a week just driving around and enjoying ourselves. We're like, hey, we should have taken pictures.
Videos, shit.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's a lot of people that won't go out with YouTuber people because of all the stops and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
We've done that a couple of times and we're like, let's go. You're not experiencing it, right? Your eyes are like, okay, take another picture. It's not the same thing. You start off by saying, we're going to make YouTube, we're going to make some money, we're going to monetize, and we'll be rich. And then we're like, we get there, we're like, we don't get time for this.
So one of the things I want to do is drive back and forth to get the perfect shot. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. I find, you know, a lot of times I'll go out for a day and totally forget about taking pictures during the day. And then it's like, well, how's anybody going to know I did this?
It didn't happen unless you put it on Instagram.
Right,
you know?
Exactly, right? I find I've actually been pulling away from social media. I pulled away quite a bit in the fall for a number of reasons, but it actually felt quite good. I did post some stuff on my personal ones, but it's usually like a morning sunrise shot while I'm sitting there having my coffee and going for a walk and you know, watching the sunrise, right? But it's during the day stuff I didn't even worry about, and I don't miss it at all.
We're trying to get out there, and then you're posting stuff. How are you experiencing it if you're taking all the pictures and not being in the moment? I don't know. It's like, get out there and do it, but hey, watch me on TV. I'm not a media person. I don't watch a lot of YouTube stuff. I don't watch TV. Like I'm like, don't like it, but at the same time, you got to stay relevant. So you got to post and be up there, right?
I'm sure there's lots of people that go out and drive around a camp and never take a picture and post it on Instagram. And they still have the same memories we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
we like to share because we go places. We went to a place, the Salmon Glacier. I was watching some of Sean's videos,
Yep.
And he's like, this is probably the last time you're going to get down this road. So I'm like, let's go find that road. We're close to where he is. Let's go see it. And we found it. And yeah, we were 11 inches too wide to drive down that road. That was a crazy road. But, we wouldn't have known about that if we didn't watch his video. We wouldn't have known about some of the stuff in Alberta if we didn't watch Cappy. Those kind of things you don't know unless you're watching some of those people that are doing those things. We've had pretty good luck with finding those places and being like, yeah, this is amazing.
I find I don't watch YouTube as much as I used to. And usually I'll just put it on one night and watch it on my TV. But, there's a lot of great YouTubers out there in Canada, especially, BC's got a ton of them just because we have, BC is incredible, right? But all across Canada.
Just take a picture, like
Let me go to the backyard.
Yeah. Right.
Trisha's asked me to stop sending her pictures.
With my view. I'm like, oh my God, seriously.
As I look at the mountain outside my house at the kitchen table here.
Come in.
So let's hop over to that Alaska trip. You guys went all the way from Ontario up to Alaska. What a hell of a trip. First of all, why? And then maybe you can run through some of your favorite times other than your engagement during that trip.
Do you want to go first?
I think the trip started out to be an Oregon trip, right?
It did.
That's the wrong direction.
Yeah. So we were going the back direction. We're like to outside the beach this way. Yeah, that's where we were. And then you watched a video.
Oh man.
And that's
what
turned it around to going to Tuck, right? And then we're like, well, okay, we're going to Tuck, and then we're going to Alaska, and then now what? So everything's just sort of got jumbled up in the last
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks for real.
Wow.
What are we doing now? So we winged it. Go ahead.
We winged it. Yeah. And we wing it. So when we're on our trip, we're like, okay, we're just going to do the tap. And we'll just drive wherever we go. I want to go to Colorado and drive some of the crazy Jeep passes. But that's it. That's really all we had. We don't have to be here a certain day. We find a camp spot. We haven't camped in Walmart. We don't camp in Cracker Barrel because we're always pretty wise to find a spot. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, we're a little bit more, we become picky. We're like, oh, we need to find a spot that's in the forest. And we need to have water. So we're driving around finding spots. We had talked to some other people that had done Alaska. And they're like, oh, if you ever get a chance to do Alaska, do Alaska. And then those darn YouTubers, Sean and Brad, I watched their video going to Tuck, and I'm like, well, it's only this far on the map. Let's give a week to get to Dawson Creek before you could do 3 days and 3 days to Tuck, right? And we wore out the tires. Like, we had a set of tires that could do the whole trip. And doing those two roads, the Dempster and the Dalton, wrecked my tires. We had to buy new tires halfway through. Or we wouldn't have made it. Yeah. Amazing road. Not near as bad as what everybody says. You don't need 5 tires. We didn't get one flat.
And all that gas, they said.
Yeah. We had 2 extra jerry cans. We used it in Tuck just because the gas station was closed when we left. Other than that, the gas was good. The people were amazing. The dust is for real. It's brutal. The landscape is epic. Completely epic. If you get a chance to do that, or if you get to jump in with somebody else, go and do it because it is an epic trip.
Yeah, Northwest Territories reminded us of Ireland. It was different right in the middle of it when you cross through. It's green and almost like Mexico even.
High tundra, right? Not a lot of trees, just a lot of shrub. All the shrub was about 3 feet tall. You look out over the plains and it was just shrub. Yeah, so it was very hard to see the bears.
Yeah. So a lot of different stuff, right? Things they don't talk about. We have a bunch of video because I did do a lot of video from the car where people can see what that is. I just haven't put it together and compiled it and put it online. But I think people would be surprised on that trip what you see. I think a lot of YouTubers show the same thing. They show the dusty road. They show the potholes. They show
fairies.
A little bit thing here and there. But there's a ton more that you can see. So yeah, it was epic.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
Tuck is definitely on my list. It probably won't be this summer, but the following summer. So 26 is my goal. It's also not a cheap trip either, right? So
gas was a little expensive. In Dawson Creek, I think it was $239.
Yeah.
So I put in $200 worth, and then that was all my card would take, and I'd put my card back in and put another $85 in after that. So yeah, it was expensive.
Yeah.
But you guys, right? Because you guys all do this stuff. you can travel in your car way cheaper than you could get on an airplane and get in a hotel and do all that stuff. And
Sure.
we eat like kings. We eat
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Local. Yeah.
Yeah, and we buy local stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we try to not, go to Walmart every time. So we try to hit the local places and buy the local food. And
The butchers and
Yeah.
fish, depending on where you are. Like, we're cooking outside and it's just the two of us. So there's not a lot of waste. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you figure 10 weeks, how much would that cost if you went all inclusive somewhere?
Yep.
For 10
Too much.
weeks. It's
Yeah.
$3,000 for 1 week, right? So I mean, like, when you compare it, depends what you want, right? Like I think like what 12,000
Yeah.
for the summer for the 10 weeks. That's not bad.
and that didn't
So
include my tires.
it did
Yeah.
include
No.
That's what you were asking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's about, just for everybody to know, the Gladiator wasn't that big of a difference in the gas difference between that truck and my new truck, my 250. I've got the 7.3 Godzilla with the 10-speed, and we loaded everything that we had in the Gladiator in that truck and more, and it was about $1,000 a week is what we paid for groceries and gas and and booze
Yeah.
and souvenirs and all that stuff. So it's not, when we weren't living. We weren't going crazy with the stuff we have because you just don't have enough room to buy 3 new sweatshirts and keep them in the trucks, right? That's not a thing when you're an overlander, as everybody knows. And so you pick and choose what you buy, and
especially gas.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Gas and booze.
gas and booze.
But you guys bring up a very good point, though. Like my brother, he'll go to Cuba or he'll go to Mexico or whatever. Between him and his wife, they'll spend, $2,000 to $5,000 on their trip, right? And I'm like, well, that will basically give me all the fuel I need for going all over BC, up north or whatever. So it's different strokes for different folks, right? But I would rather spend my money doing exploring, and especially areas that I haven't been before. Rather, I can't sit on a beach. Like, that's just
Me
not
neither.
my.
I don't do that.
I can do it for a couple hours if I got a book or something like that, and then after that, my legs start twitching and I start getting head shake.
What
And
about when you start some just a nice chair and bring it on the beach?
Yeah.
Can we touch it?
Trisha, on the other hand,
Oh, I love that, right?
I love it. I'm like, just give me a
Yeah.
beach chair and I'm the ocean. I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm just fine. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, when we were living in Unexpected, was very happy being on the beach.
Yeah.
And I was like, my OCD was like, wow, where are we gonna go? Like, we're gonna stay here another day? Like, yeah. So, but
For clams or something.
yeah, but you do those things.
Totally.
You have to, when you're traveling, everyone's like, oh, how do you spend so much time together? Right. And we do. We spend every day together. Kesteal works from home. I work from home half the time. So we are together every single day.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, road trips are stressful. Right. And there's things that come up. You get in situations sometimes. You get lost. You don't know where you're going to sleep. Yeah, the weather is a big thing. You want to set up in the pouring rain and then tear down in the pouring rain. You don't really see those videos when you're selling stuff, right? You see those perfect sunny days when you take your tent down and put your swag bag away, but it's not so much fun when it's absolutely pouring rain.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Yeah,
the thing. People
don't see that, right? I interviewed a young couple that did basically the Pan American, and they went from Vernon, British Columbia. So they didn't do the Alaska part, but they did BC down to the southern coast of Argentina, and they took them, I think it was 9 months they did it. So they actually did it a little fairly quickly. But that was one thing that I asked them, is like, you're together in that vehicle within arm's reach for 9 months.
Yeah.
And you guys are still lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you learn more about each other. You learn, she's like, some days he would be breathing and I would hate him for it.
Right.
Kind of idea, right? But
we almost broke up once. Like, it was in Oklahoma. Where I was like, I'm going to the airport in the morning. I'm hitchhiking. He's like, I'll take you there. So yeah, you reach your breaking point, right?
It's like 4 days with no shower. We're stressed out about where we're gonna stay. We got lost on the trail. Yeah, like those things they wear on you, right? But
I just have a shower every 3 days. I know that
Yeah.
sounds like, because I'm like, I should shower every day, but if you're on the road, you can't shower every day. You know, if I don't, like, after 3 days, I'm going to kill someone.
But to be honest with you, though, if I was to do a long trip like that, I would, to be honest with you, I would probably be looking at going to a hotel like once a week or once every 10 days just to have that.
Leisure
And then,
time.
yeah, exactly. And,
Yeah.
I know some people may laugh at me, but I'm just like, yeah, dude,
No.
but I can just, I can have a hot shower for 20 minutes
Yeah.
if I want. I
Yeah.
can, I can relax. I can, watch TV for a moment, or I
You
can go
know,
downstairs.
yeah, the elements. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not in the
Yeah.
US. No. We're drunk home. Steele's like, could you
I'd
go
like
another
to shower.
10? I'm like, hell yeah. Let's go. No, I don't even want to go home. Let's just do another 10 for sure. Yeah, I
You
love.
don't have hair.
Do you have a outdoors shower system?
We sure do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes
And
us
hot.
about 2 minutes to hook the thing up. So I've made it super, super easy. For anybody that's watched our stuff, I build pretty much everything, right? I'm not a buy it kind of person. I'm a build it kind of person. And so we have tankless water heater, and it's in a box, and it's right beside the shower tent. And right below that tankless water heater is the propane tank and a jerry can.
Okay.
And so I can set that up in 2 minutes. By the time Kesteal can get her towel and her shampoo, I got the thing set up and she can shower.
Nice.
And it's endless, right? It's endless. So as she's showering, if she wants to have a 20-minute shower, Wes, I just go to the creek and I get more water and I bring it back and I keep that jerry can full until she's happy. Right?
Nice.
Because it's
Happy wife, happy life.
it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think a shower would be mandatory, I think, on
Yeah.
a trip of
Yeah.
that length.
It absolutely is. You can't be on the road for a week and not have a shower. Like you just can't, you just can't. So, yeah. And you can say that you're going to go jump in the creek and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. And it's cool going for 2 weeks. If going for 2 weeks, you could be like, yeah, I'm just going to jump in the lake and have a shower and I'm going to carry on. But it's a long time going for 10 weeks. And, we applaud these people that we see doing long distance, year after year travel and that stuff. All those people, they got the creature comforts because they figured it out right away. You got to have that.
Yeah.
It's one of the necessities.
What else would, say if somebody else wanted to do let's say even a 3 or 4 week trip, what else would you consider to be essentials?
Say it. Toilet.
Oh, yeah.
It's the question from the ladies all the time.
Yep.
Where do you pee? Where do you poo?
Yeah. We have
Important
a
question.
Dematic toilet, right? So what is
It's a cassette toilet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So, we need that, right? Guys can do whatever, but and you can dig holes and that's what it's all about if you're on Crown Land or somewhere else, right? But it's nice just to have a toilet, right?
Yeah.
We have the shower / toilet tent, right? That's on the side of the vehicle, right? You just bring it down super easy, open it up, you put the toilet down and you pee or poo or whatever, right? So it's a must. People don't think about it. They're like, oh, I'm just going to go on a vacation. Well, where are you going to pee? You're not always going to have a gas station or a Tim Hortons or whatever, right? So that's a must. The shower for sure, like the water, something to clean your dishes, like things like that, like the things people don't think about when you're camping. It depends on where you're camping, but you need a water source, right? So if you can't find one on Overlander or get to something, or you're not in a provincial or a state park, you're going to have your own water. So, make sure you bring that with you.
We have 3 containers. We have double water tank in the truck in case one gets a hole. And then we've got a jerry can on the back. So the jerry can on the back, we can fill that up with the creek water or lake water. We don't have to drink that water, but our water that's in the rig is potable water. Right?
Yeah.
So that's an important thing. And we spent a lot of time scouting around looking for water, especially in Alberta.
Yeah.
Right when we were in Holton, we went up and down the town a few times because there was a thing on Overlander that said there's a tap.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And we're like, okay. And I drove past it. I was like looking for some big fancy tap. And it was just a pipe sticking up out of the ground with a hose laying on the grass. Right. Here you go. Filled it up. But that was a lifesaver. When we topped up, we filled up our 3rd can because we were going to go do some crazy exploring for a few days to get down south. And it was a lifesaver. Right. But the other thing I think is a quick setup. You got to have a quick setup. You have to be able to set up camp in less than 10 minutes and you have to be able to break down camp in less than 15 minutes. It's easy to set up, but it's hard to pack it back away in the same spot.
Yep.
And so I think Kesteal and I are very good at that. We've done it enough times, and
The elements.
yeah,
Right.
in the pouring rain, in
Yep.
the snow
Cold,
and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, bug infested, right?
Oh my goodness,
Not so
bugs.
many videos with that. With
Mhm.
there's 5,000 mosquitoes on your face as you're trying to pack up, but
Yeah.
that's a reality of being more out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Every-
one thing that where the rooftop tents really, I've become a believer in the rooftop tents. I've had ground tents before, and they are a pain in the butt. Even the small, like 2-man or 3-man ones are a pain in the butt. You roll them up, you got to roll them up on the ground, and you're
Yeah.
getting rocks on your knees and stuff like that. And then it's raining, and the tent's getting all wet. And going to a rooftop tent, there's definitely some advantages about it, right? So
For sure. I think a
Definitely.
rooftop was a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say like the biggest kit was definitely getting a better rooftop. We have a really nice rooftop that we got from Wild Coast Tents out east, and it's a great tent. It was like the beginning of the Smitty builds is
Yep.
kind of what it was like. And
It
then
was soft top.
soft. Yeah,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
soft. I had to climb up on top. I had to press it down, put the zipper around it. It took too long.
Mhm.
It was a great tent, but it just took too long for what we do. If you're only camping in the provincial park for the weekend, it was mint, perfect, but not for what we do. And then we went through a couple of different renditions of Vito's tents, and we got to the XL, and it's a fantastic tent. I love it.
Mhm.
The only thing that we have about it is that when it's inclement weather, we really don't have a place to get out of the weather, And
Yeah.
so what do you do about that? So we bought a 270 awning. So we bought the OVS 270. That I would say is, if you're out camping and you want to be out of the elements, that's the thing to get.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we bought the walls, and we have all that. We keep a fire pit inside. We have a little propane fire pit. And for the winter, it's fantastic. You can
Yep.
sit in there, take the chill off. Everything's wicked. But it's just when it's raining. When it's raining, everything gets wet. And so that's why we have our new kit.
I'll be honest with you, my awning, I have a straight out awning that I bought, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. And when awnings just started to become popular, but,
Mhm.
and Trisha's heard me tell this before, but my ex at times, she's like, well, this is stupid. Why you spend, $300 on this, right? Kind of idea, right? The first time we went out, it started raining just after we finished cooking dinner, kind of idea. So put the awning out, and we sat and had dinner under the awning, and she's like, this totally makes sense. And it, to be honest with you, is one of my favorite purchases I've made for camping is an awning. It's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. I think it's,
Absolutely.
may even be more important than the rooftop tent.
Yeah.
Because it gives you that spot you can put all your cooking stuff, like I got a fold out table, put your cooking gear in there, you can sit under there, you can cook there, you can, like you said, I've got the things go around the side. So same idea. We were camping a couple years ago, and we put a propane fire pit inside, and we got outside, and there's like 6 inches of fresh snow out there, and we had no idea. Right.
Yeah.
Like it was just nice and
Game
toasty
changer.
and warm. And I'm a true believer in the awnings, 100%.
Yep.
Definitely.
And if you have a spouse or a significant other that you're trying to get into this kind of stuff, then you need some creature comforts. You
Yep.
need to make it a little bit nice. I'm a rough it kind of person. I could roast wieners on the fire and pee in the bush. But as I've gotten a little bit older, I like my creature comfort. So those things are nice to have. And again, that's why we're upping our game again. So
And awning, even in this, I found it because it's so hot over here in the middle of BC that with the sun, it's a great shade piece, right? So
yep.
Yeah.
you get
6-7 degrees cooler, always under your awning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So you went from the Gladiator into your Ford, into your F-250.
Yeah. I'm a trader.
Yeah. And then now you're making some big changes again.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it just never ends with us. We had a nice JK, and it was a great Jeep, but I wanted to pick up. I'm a pickup guy. When the Gladiators came out, I was like, oh yeah, I got to get one of those. And we had one of those, and the Gladiator is amazing. It's a great platform. We did all kinds of stuff to it. We re-geared it. We put 40s on it, built a rack for it. We did all kinds of stuff to it to make it personal just for us. And you guys have seen some of the stuff that we've done with it.
Yep.
Crazy great platform. For me, it just wasn't quite big enough. I didn't find that we were comfortable in it. We've got our 2 dogs that we take with us all the time, and they were kind of crammed in the back, and it's a long for those guys too. So we decided that we would do the seat delete in the new truck. We move up to a bigger truck. The Ford is basically a TJ. It's got springs in the front, leaps in the back. That's what TJs were, right? So it wasn't too hard to move us into that. And then this year we packed. Yeah, we packed in and out of that cap, and the cap was amazing. It kept all our stuff dry and clean for our tuck trip because it was super dusty, and it worked really good. We had a slide-out kitchen, we had all the amenities, we had everything. But I just wanted that little bit more creature comfort, and that's why we went to a pop-up soft top. So, yeah, truck camper. Yeah.
I think that is definitely one of my goals, is to go to a pop top, whether it be like a 4-wheel camper or whatever. And just, to me, it makes so much more sense, because you can, in a rooftop tent, you're sitting there when you're getting dressed or changed, whatever you do, and that shimmy on your back kind of idea. And it just gives you that extra room to stand up and do things, and that extra, if it's pouring out rain, you got your awning, but you can also be inside playing cards.
I work from home, so now this is a space where I'm comfortable and I can do my job and have a couple of screens. Like, I'm an accounting stuff, right? So I need all my screens. So if we're actually going to do this and like continue our journey, then again, I can't be sitting up in the rooftop tent or in the front seat of the vehicle trying to do my job, right? So it makes sense. And it's like, for us, it's like a mini home.
But we looked at all the options and we were like, what's kind of the next step? We've had a pop-up camper trailer. We've had a big hybrid trailer. We've had little tents and big tents, and we've had all that kind of stuff. And we have a really nice camp trailer that I built. It was a contractor trailer that's got a folded bed on it, got heater, running water, the whole deal. You just can't take that with you and be portable. And we need something that can stay on the vehicle, so that if we're driving along, you're like, hey, I think I want to drive down that road. Or we meet some people and talk, and they're like, you should come down to Chilliwack and we'll take you wheeling. We're like, okay. And we just do it, and that's the next thing that we're doing. So having all those things is on the vehicle is kind of the way that we figured out that we enjoy traveling is with it on the truck. Yeah. And the cool thing about the camper is you can just push the button and put the legs down and drive out from it. And so now if I want to go wheeling in my truck, I don't have to carry all that weight. You don't have to break down camp. There's a lot of advantages to having that. And that you see the big guys on YouTube that are doing that, right? Those guys, especially, I was dumbfounded when I saw that Brad had a 4-wheel camper with a full-size truck. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I think that's it, especially for, I'll say it, my age. I'm not really thrilled about climbing up and down the ladder a couple times a night and taking the dogs up and down the ladder and doing those things. And I want to be inside and make a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So, it's that old man 3 o'clock pee and 4 o'clock pee and 5 o'clock pee.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I know it all too well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I think that's the next progression. And we enjoy being out that long, and I would like to be out longer. We are getting close to the time where maybe we're going to pack it in and enjoy it more often. And that's an option that we can do too. So that's a future thing that we're thinking of. And I think I always have the itch. Kesteal's like, is this going to be the last build? And I'm like, yes, I mean, for sure. This is it. This is our vehicle. And there I am out today, just finishing up some last little pieces, because Monday we're going to pick up the camper. So I decided that instead of a truck box, we should have a flatbed. Because a flatbed, you can put boxes on the side and keep a lot of stuff in there. We should get that. Well, it was a lot of work. A lot of work. You guys wait till you see it. It's pretty crazy. With the 6-inch lift on the truck, it's massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be our next adventure. Our next set of exciting things to come, we'll say, is to what we're going to do in the future and see that. And we did meet a lot of people. I think in Ontario, we're kind of isolated from the truck camper market, where in Alberta and BC, there's thousands of them. And we saw those guys and all the stuff that they were doing. And we met so many nice couples that were like, what do you got a rooftop tent for when you can have a toilet and a stove and a sink in your truck, and you can just put the legs down and drive away if you want to go to town. I'm like, it's mind blowing to me, right? Well, yeah, look at that. So,
Yeah.
and we're always open to something new, trying something different. And if it doesn't work, it's not like it was $100,000. We'll sell it and try something else again. So,
Well, that's the thing. They hold their resale value so well, right?
Right.
So you can probably sell it almost for as much as what you paid for it, right? To try it out for a year. But I think it's a natural progression, and it totally makes sense to me. I mean, that's in my vision thing for like the next 5 years kind of idea, right? And to be in the same setup. And that's the other thing too, is we're always tinkering. We're always fine tuning our setups. And yes, this will be the last thing. Yes, it will, honestly.
Honestly, for sure.
yeah.
No one ever.
With me about how many sets of tires I have.
God. We look like a shop.
I think for my Gladiator, I think I had 5 sets of tires. Yeah, I have 3 sets of tires for the truck right now.
If you go out in the shop,
Yeah.
it's all tires in the back.
It's
Like all
crazy.
tires. Like it looks like a shop.
Crazy.
Big.
You need your overland tires. You need your rock climbing tires. You need your daily driving tires. You need winter tires.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
4 sets right there.
37, 30.
You got a 37, 35.
It makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Brent. It totally makes sense to me.
You named your vehicles. I know you've had a Jeep, Kesteal. So have you named your Jeep in the past, or have you guys named your Jeeps? I know the Jeep community, we're very culty, like you said. We like to name our Jeeps. We put it on the sticker on the side, decal.
I didn't know, because what I understand is that someone else is supposed to name it for you, right? You're not supposed to name it yourself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good
that
luck.
can happen. Yeah, that can happen. Yeah.
So I haven't named it. I had a TJ. That's where I started with a TJ, and she was a Harley Quinn, decked out badass, right? It had bottoms up bitches on the
Really?
wind.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I either got the stink eye when I was out, like, oh my God, because the bitches, right? With a couple of Zens, right? Or people were like, oh, that's cool, right? And then I traded that one in, and I have the one I have now. And this one's all decked out with our Adventures Unexpected, right? So
Yeah.
I haven't named them. So, and the Gladiator's not named.
Yeah, the Gladiator, most people would call it
Yeah.
the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get any names. And then
No.
you named the Ford, the Black Sheep.
Yeah, Black
Right,
Sheep
so-
for sure. Yeah.
No, yeah. No one said anything about
Christina needs a name for her Jeep.
Yeah. Anyone?
Well, there we go, listeners. We'll have to come up with a name for her Jeep now. What color is it?
It's white. Yeah, it's white.
Is it J. Caves, right?
I did
Or is
someone
it
else. White snake. Right?
Yeah, white snake.
Yeah.
It was white. I don't know what the snake was. I can't remember what the whole story behind it was, but I'm like, it's not sticking. I liked it because, like, back in the day, White Snake, they had the hot redhead chick that was like, dancing on the roof and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I could see that. I could,
There
Incorporate.
you go.
do that. Oh my God.
I'm talking. I'm not going to see.
I could fall down and break a hip.
Slide off and off word.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I just had a real bad vision. I get those guys doing those burlesque photos. Like the guys built like me kind of idea, beard and a belly, and they're doing the funny photos. So there you go, Brett. You can do that with your vehicles. And no.
We're going to hop it.
What's your plans for 2025? Do you guys have any trips plans? I know you guys are going through another build change, but what else do you guys have planned?
So we're going to do our winter event. So that's going to be the end of January. And it's always just, if you want to come, then put your name on the page and we'll add you to the chat and we'll drop you the coordinates and tell you kind of what you need. The winter event, it's a little bit more intense. So you need a good place to sleep and you need a heater, right? Or plan on just coming up for the day. We've got a bunch of people that are just going to drive up. It's just up in Minden area. Where we always kind of like to go. It's not that far from Toronto, so it's kind of a general area where people can go. Lots of crown land up there. So we're going to do that. And then this year we're talking about
Baja.
Yeah, we're talking about going to Baja in California. Kesteal's, she's more interested in Mexico than me.
Yes, we're not excited for Mexico.
So, if we had, I'd be more comfortable if we had like a group of 8 vehicles going like the 4-wheel camper guys do when they go down, where it's, safety in numbers, I'd be okay with that. I think us traveling, that's just too much of a security risk right now, especially for how Mexico is. But we're definitely going to do, I'm thinking straight across America and hit the Oregon coast, because I promised Kesteal last year that she could spend a few days on the beach, and I didn't come through with that. So that would have to be the beginning of our trip this year. So straight across right to Oregon, stay there for, a week, and then maybe travel down and do Baja and hang out and see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's nice.
You did give her beach up in Tuktoyaktuk, and I saw she had the mosquito net and stuff like that, but you did give her a beach.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah. I think they can both be off, but yeah. Tans are that.
Yeah.
You gave her oceanfront. I mean,
the camper we're getting on Monday, like I said.
Cool.
So we hooked up with RV Camp Out, and they're really treating us well on what we're interested in doing. And they're interested in collaborating with us, as we have a bunch of people that collaborate with us. So that's always great. And we've got some things that are coming up where we're going to kind of try and break into that camper market. It's a very untapped market, I think, for a lot of people that maybe have the gear to go, but are afraid to go, that are thinking that my truck can't make it down there. And so us having that experience of driving all the trail and knowing all those spots where you can go might help that out a little bit. So we're gonna look at that. I think there's enough people that are driving JLs and Gladiators that take people out and do a great job of teaching new people how to drive their vehicles and do that stuff. I think that's a great market. I don't think that's the market for us. We enjoy meeting people that drive Subarus and Honda Fits and 1982 Topaz with a snorkel on it. Those people are very interesting. Those people, right? And a ton of trucks. Yeah,
the Tennessee is full of Jeeps, so we're all inclusive. Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really how we started. We're like, we spend a lot of time with the Jeep people, and the Jeep people are awesome. But there's lots of other awesome people. There's really nice people that drive Nissans and Toyotas and Suzukis. So there and Mans and Datsus and all the big stuff that comes from Germany. We met some crazy awesome people that were from Germany. They were like, I sold everything and we bought a Man, and we're just traveling around for 5 years.
Wow,
right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Right? So
I think that, we all make fun. I mean, I make fun of Trish and her Jeep, and she makes fun of Toyotas. Well, no, she doesn't have a leg to stand on for making fun of Toyotas, but we do make fun of each other's vehicles, and, it's all friendly rivalry and that. But in the end, we're all out there to enjoy the outdoors. And you see a Suzuki broken down on the side of the road, or a Dodge pickup or whatever, you're going to pull over and you're going to help them, and everybody gets out, and it's all goes back to that whole community thing that we're talking about earlier, right? So,
yeah. And I mean, we try to pay it forward.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool that we're seeing more of these varieties of rigs on the trails now, and like going out and doing stuff. And like you're saying, seeing like the Subarus coming out and the like Suzukis, and like it's like, whoa, that's going out. That's pretty cool. If you watch these videos, I see what they're doing. Like it's wild, right? So that's cool too. And I love seeing that, because you're right. It doesn't always have to be Jeeps. It doesn't have to be like the Tacos and the Forerunners. It's like, hey, if you want to go, you just find a group and you go, and you're learning, and you're just like, hey, I can do that too.
You take a look at Chase Schrader from Flat 4 Off-Road. He's got Flat 4 Off-Road in Calgary there. And he's taken Subarus up and through the Rocky Mountains, and they're doing stuff that a lot of Jeep guys won't do, kind of idea, like off the showroom floor kind of guys are a little nervous about it, right? And they're out there with their Subarus hitting these boulders and things like that. So
it's not about the vehicle. I always say it's about the person that's driving it. Are you confident? Do you have enough skill to do that kind of stuff? Yes, having a decent set of tires is important, but you don't want to drive the trail in street tires. But you buy a used set of BFGs on Marketplace, and your vehicle can go twice as far as what you think it can.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot. When we were in Colorado, we saw some stuff on the trail. We're like, how did that get here? Or did that guy drive his Hyundai Santa Fe to the top of this mountain? Right. Yep. And it took him a little bit longer, but he's pressing the all-wheel drive button, and they experienced the same thing we did at the top of the hill. So Good for you.
Apparently, you might have Brett. You may have some tires for sale. Apparently, so
I have a brand new set of 40s that I want to sell.
Your event on January 24th, 25th, out in Middle Ontario. There, how do they get a hold of you? Say, hey, I'm interested in this event. What is the process?
Yeah, I think Facebook, we have a private group.
Yeah.
So you can either, DM us or join the group, I guess, right? So you can see the details. I do cross posts. So it is on a couple other platforms as well. So on Instagram, just send us a message and we'll get back to you. But Facebook is the place that I put it so that, it has the function to, create a group and create all the details and things like that, right? Where Instagram is just a bunch of reels and a bunch of posts and stuff, right?
Mhm.
A lot more functionality. So yeah, just hook me up there and you'll be part of it and see all the details. And we have a chat going on right now of anyone that says they're going. And then we're talking about diesel heaters and we're talking about the things that are kind of necessary for this winter event, right? So a lot of useful information. There are some people in there that are not going, but they want to know about it, right? And they are coming up for the day. And they don't get the gear yet, right? I mean, diesel heaters are pretty intimidating. Like the winter camping is pretty intimidating for someone who camps, right? So
until you get one, you're like, really all I'm going to do is make sure that the power is on and the gas is full.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So but you have to go into camping in the winter. I mean, there's a lot of people who just hibernate the whole winter, right? And I get it. If you want to come out, then Facebook's the place to go. Yeah.
Perfect. Is there anything that we missed that you guys wanted to talk about?
Oh boy. Yeah. Hey, we just hit 15,000 subscribers on Instagram. So that's pretty big for us.
That is awesome. Good for you guys.
I was pretty happy when we had 50. Wow. Let's see what's happening. People want to see we're native or just drive around looking boo. Well, not good for you. So thanks for everybody that's following us. That's great. We're going to try and do more YouTube this year. We're going to try. We're really going to try and do that. And if you haven't ever gone out before, if you haven't done any of that stuff and you just want to see what it's about, then this is a very fun, safe place.
It's organic.
Yeah.
I don't got the big stuff to do videos. I use my phone.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Like it's for real. Whatever you see there's not edits. It's who we are. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and this is who we are. And we do it every single day.
I remember watching a video where you're putting a lift kit in the Ford and you had problems with the pitman. And she's like, oh, I mean, that's real life, right? I mean, I've struggled with 4 hours with a pitman arm before. I feel your pain, right? But it's totally real life.
Yeah, I think that's what our viewers want to see. And that's why they follow us, because we don't candy coat stuff. We put our tent down and the canvas gets jammed, right? Oh, we didn't pack it away right last time, but we don't edit that out because that's real life. It happens. So
I forgot my glasses in the tent and it's already all packed up.
Yeah, exactly. Keys. Yeah.
The keys, yes.
Like, oh my God, you got to undo it all. I'm like, this is reality.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's done that.
No.
Believe me,
yeah, that happens.
Yeah, we can all relate to it, right? So,
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
And I think that's one of the better. Like, as much as I love some of the other channels out there, like Sean from Story Till Now, and there's some other guys out there doing beautiful cinematographic shots. There's something to be said about the smaller channels where it's just, for lack of a better term, real people doing real stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
There's one of my favorite couples is the folks from Finding Life's Moments, and they're in a Tacoma, and they're about the same age as me, and I've been out camping, wheeling with them, and there's so many videos like that, or G from BC, or there's other ones out in Ontario I know as well too, but they're just real people just out doing real things, and they show the bad points and the good points. And it's also very relatable compared to some of the other video producers out there. So it's nice to have a good mixture.
Yeah. It just depends on the content that you want to make.
Yeah.
And how much time you want to put in the editing. I would rather be out in the bush driving around than spend 3 days and we get home doing editing. That's just me. Right. And I don't do any of that stuff, you guys. That's all Kesteal. Like, I'm just like Dave Thomas. I just have my picture on the box, but she's done all the work. Yeah.
And it is a lot of work. Videos are a ton of work.
Right, it is.
You know, on the audio side for the podcast, I do a little bit of cleanup and editing, and it still takes me a couple hours to do that, right? But when it comes to videos, that's a whole nother world. So
Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to everyone who does do that and has the patience and the time,
Absolutely.
and the passion and the drive and all that stuff, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
And I really enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
So keep doing it because I really enjoy it. But it's just
we
not
love
my
it.
is there anybody that you guys are working with you want to give a shout out to?
Why?
You do the first one.
I just want to shout out to Mioli Recovery Gear. Like
Oh,
that guy Anton. He's good shit, right? Like he's giving us all stuff. And when you're on the road like we are, whether it's winter or any season or long periods or short periods, like you need recovery gear, right? And he's been really good to us. So shout out to that.
Shout out to Anton.
Yeah. Anton gave us a whole carload full of stuff. And we use it a ton. We really do.
Use it, right? Like,
And we're always like, hey, time for Mioli. Let's get the Mioli gear out.
And a shout out to our listeners. We did a interview with him back in these, and Mioli, recovery gear, and he's also got the gas cans. I've got one of those gas cans. And to our listeners, if you are interested in hearing more about Mioli, go back into, I think it was July or March or something. It's last year that we did an interview with him, and it was quite a good one.
Yeah. And we get some stuff from people, and we get deals, and we could talk about that for a long time. And thank you to everybody that does that, because that's really awesome for us. And I think that when you give us that stuff, the deal is that we're going to try and wreck it. And some of the things we have wrecked, and some of the things we're working on right now. So thanks to those guys. But I would really like to give a shout out to 410 Expedition. So Cappy, the first guy that I watched on YouTube from Alberta, Cappy has been super great. I watched his trailer build and I'm like, this guy's amazing. And then Kesteal reached out to him when we went to Alberta, and he got back to us and he's like, well, here's a spot you could camp at. And we camped there, and it was an epic spot, amazing spot by the creek.
Yeah, cute.
And then Kesteal reached out to him and thanks so much for giving us that spot. And what are you doing on the weekend? You want to come out camping with us? And we drove, how far did I drive, Kesteal? About 4 hours?
Yeah.
With a huge smile on my face the whole way. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And we met him and his wife, Tracy. Oh my God, like salt of the earth people. And, I still watch Cappy's videos, and we chat every once in a while. We were trying to hook up with them this year. They were away doing that Europe trip.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of a wheeling. But yeah, awesome. And I've met some people. I've met some YouTubers that I was like, hey, I really want to meet Jason from Swell Overland. I got to meet Jason at the expo in 2017, and that was really cool. And the guys from Australia, I've met some people, but I think Cappy was the most down-to-earth, cool fellow that I've met so far. So
yeah, I've watched his videos for a while too, and that's another channel that's relatable.
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
yeah.
going back to that whole conversation
He's
earlier.
like, oh damn, look, I'm a dummy. I cut my finger. Right? Like say he's relatable. Yeah, because that thing sometimes that happens, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly. Trisha, do you want to ask the last question?
Sure. So, our question that we ask each guest is, what Canadian we would like to hear on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
Everyone we know, like you guys been on it, like the people that we would say have already been on it. Right. So,
I do want to contact Cappy from 410 Expeditions.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that he would be a fun one to discuss with.
Yeah, he's a character, so that'd be good. Yeah. We camp with a couple, Fred and Melba, and they're pretty interesting people. Hill is their last name, and they're just regular folk like us, and they are serious campers. I don't think they do YouTube, but they do a lot of Instagram, and they're just like us, salt of the earth, nice regular people. So, yeah.
To be honest with you, that's what we more or less like talking to is salt of the earth people.
Right.
We've had some other people that have been fairly high up in the overlanding world or the racing world or whatever. And we find that the conversations sometimes can be so much better with these regular people like you and I, right? Like it's just the way it is.
If you have a business, you want to plug your business, right? That's just like nobody's going to do that for you unless you do it yourself. So, like you say, if you want to have the campfire conversation, then those are the people that you want to talk to, right? The people that are
Yep.
using that stuff and the people that are actually doing it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of really good businesses on here, and
Mhm.
we find half the conversations about the product, which is one of the reasons for this podcast. But
Yeah.
the other half of that conversation is just talking about life. And yeah, these business owners are regular people like you and I, kind of idea, right? So
Yep.
once again, we are talking with Brent and Kesteal from Adventures Unexpected. You can check them out as Adventures_Unexpected on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Really looking forward to seeing all the videos and all the photos from your January event coming up. Hopefully it won't be minus 30. Hopefully it'll be a nice, balmy minus 20 or something, minus 15.
Last year was mud. Like,
Yeah.
full on mud. So, whew, I'm hoping there's snow this year. Yeah.
Hopefully a little bit of snow. It's funny. As we were talking off air, that the whole winter camping thing, I'm new to that. I've done lots of snowshoeing and stuff like that, but the whole winter camping thing has been new to me, and I've absolutely loved it, through this past year that I've been doing it. So, and fall time is my favorite time of year. And, diesel heaters have really changed the world for me, I think. So
Yeah.
for sure.
And
So once again, check them out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And like I say, can't wait to see these pictures from January. And I can't wait to see the pictures of your new pop top camper. You guys are picking up tomorrow. This will be coming out to the beginning of January. And you, I'm sure, will have that all over Instagram and Facebook and YouTube before this comes out. So, really looking forward to seeing that for sure.
Sweet. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, we are too. We're pretty excited.
Once again, thanks for coming on, guys. Really appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk to us about your adventures. And really looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys on the trail one day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks.
so much for the invite.
For sure.